Okay, well, it is 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started with our session for tonight. So we are on session 5. I'm sorry, you can see my slides are kind of messed up in this upper left-hand corner that I didn't see before I got on. But we are on session 5, and tonight we're going to be talking about how we track our food. My name is Angel Justice, and I'm a nurse practitioner and the director of the Advanced Practice Fellowship Program here for North Mississippi Medical Center, and we want to welcome you all for being with us today. So, tracking our food will be our subject for today. But first, we want to talk about our objectives for today. So, we're going to talk about, we'll just check in first on our action plan from last week. We'll talk about the purpose of our tracking food, how to track your food intake, how to make sense of reading those food labels that can be pretty overwhelming sometimes, and then making an action plan for our next week as well. So just checking in from last week. So last week our session was eat well to prevent type 2 diabetes, and so we talked about the importance of eating the proper foods, what things were good and could help you out on your journey, what things, could be a hindrance to you eating on your journey of preventing your type 2 diabetes, or even, trying to regress type 2 diabetes if you've already developed that. So does anybody want to talk to us about anything that they tried? What went well? Did you have any challenges? Well, good. Then we'll move right along. So the purpose, of tracking our food, obviously, we probably think, well, duh, I know I need to track my food, to keep better, control of what I'm doing. But, there's reasons behind tracking our food more than just we need to do it. And one is it just really increases our mindfulness of what we're doing. You can remember what you ate for dinner last night. I mean, how many of us can really remember every bit of it? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but oftentimes we forget what we actually put in our mouths. And tracking helps us to remain mindful of what we eat because we log it. And so if we log it, then we have no doubt, right after we eat, we put down what we had, and we don't have to go back the next day and try to guess to remember. And so it helps us be mindful of everything we've eaten. Another thing is it provides a better understanding of our own eating habits. In order to reach our nutrition goals, we need to know where our starting point is, so we can make an attainable plan with steps, to help reach our goal. For instance, you need to know how many calories you're currently consuming, from what sources you're getting those calories, kind of what ratio of macronutrients you're getting. Before you can tweak anything or make progress towards your goals, you got to know what your baseline is. And so just starting the tracking process, even if we haven't changed our diet, can really make us very aware of where we're at and what we're doing. Again, it informs us of how nutrient dense our foods are. Tracking your food helps you determine what foods are worth it for you to meet your goals and nutritional needs. After a few days, you may think, wow, those donuts from the break room are really difficult to fit into my nutrition plan. And they aren't that very satiating. I think I'd rather eat something else, or something like cake is my favorite dessert. I know I'm going to have to balance the rest of my day because of it, but I'm okay with that because I don't eat cake that often and I really love cake, so this is worth it to me. So likewise, it helps you to realize what foods you are inhibiting, what foods are inhibiting you from meeting your goals, so you can help reduce the amount of consumption or even eliminate some consumptions. For example, a latte with whole milk and syrups can add 500 extra calories to your day. Now that speaks to me because I love coffees and I love flavored coffees. So if I consume that latte every day, that's an extra 3,500 calories each week. You know what? That's another pound of fat for me every week. And those calories and that fat is not good for me trying to control or prevent diabetes, if that's what I'm working on here. Number 4, tracking our food also holds us accountable. By logging, we're aware of where we are on our daily caloric intake. And we can see that limit. There's nothing like having that number in front of you, knowing what you've already consumed. And I can only do these, this other, 250 calories the rest of the day, and that really puts it in my mind when I see something I want, but then it just clicks in my brain, well, you've only got 250 calories left today. Is it really worth that? Number 5, it helps you balance those calories and macronutrients, what I just talked about. By logging those meals, you can see how balanced your meals are. This can help you make those better choices that we were just talking about. And by making those better balanced choices, we have better sustained energy as well. Number 6, tracking our food gives us control. Once you know the caloric density of your food, it helps you to use that information for the future to help you reach your goals, to make those things attainable and not feel like I just can't do this. Maybe while out to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, you are debating, what appetizer you want to order. So before making a decision, you check to see how many calories are in the grilled chicken lettuce wrap, and you discover that they contain a whole whopping 1,000 calories. Who would think that about a grilled chicken lettuce wrap? You notice that would put you way over your calorie limit for the day, and you decide to go with a different appetizer. Side note here, this is different than a restrictive, boring diet. Tracking simply allows you to make informed decisions. It doesn't mean you can't have those things. It just means you get to make a decision based on the content, the caloric content, and what you know, the knowledge that you have. And so the control is in your hands. It allows you to plan ahead. You decide what you're going to eat or what you're going to get at the grocery store while at home, or you pre-read the menu and log those foods in advance. So this is worth me purchasing these things. I'm going to eat them. They're going to, help me to meet my goals. And so it's worth me buying those. If you aren't able to do this, learn after you make a choice why it was good or bad. So moving you towards or away from your goal, and how to improve your choices in the future. So let's read a little bit about Sally. So Sally is at risk for type 2 diabetes. She wants to lose 15 pounds, and she's been trying really hard to eat less each week. But after a whole month, Sally tells her friend Tina that she's really frustrated. She says, I've been trying to cut back for a month now, and she said, I've not lost any weight still. So her friend, is kind of surprised by this, and she asked her to describe what she ate the day before. And Sally tells Tina what she thinks that she had. And so we'll see on the next page at the table that shows you what Sally thinks she ate versus what she really ate. And then we'll also see the extra calories that she took in. So when we look here at Sally's dinner, on the left-hand side, we see what Sally really thinks she had. This is what her memory can recall from the day before and kind of lumps it all together. So she thinks she just had a salad. That's, can't be no more than 100 calories. And she had mashed potatoes. Those can't be any more than 100 calories. And she had a piece of fish, 200 calories. So she thinks she, according to her estimate, she did pretty good. Only 400 calories that she had took in. But when you look to the right-hand side, you see what she really had for dinner. So she had her salad. Yes, that was only 50 calories, but then that 2 tablespoons of blue cheese dressing was another 150 calories. She did have her mashed potatoes. Yes, those were 100 calories. That's correct what she put in, but she forgot about the milk and the butter that's within those mashed potatoes, and that's a whole nother 100 calories. And then she got her calories right on her 3 ounces of fish, but she forgot to calculate her sweet tea that she had. And so another 75 calories. And so you see the caloric difference on the far right hand side. She took in another 275 calories more than what she thought she took in just by not tracking it that day. You know, she just went back, and you just don't think about all those different things that are added in. And when you go make a salad, if you just track just a general salad and don't add all the individual parts that make up that salad, then you really are not getting your accurate caloric intake. And that's not, it doesn't hurt anybody but us not to figure that. And so if we look at her dessert, she thought she just had one small bowl of ice cream. And so she just counted herself 175 calories. Maybe her small bowl, she thought was really small. But what she really had was one cup of ice cream, and that was 320 calories. And so her total excess calories for the day was really 970 calories for the whole day. She should have really only got around 1,300, and she got around 2,295. So, I don't know where they come up with that number. That's not right. But anyway, she got more calories than what she thought she got in for the day. Maybe I'm missing the breakfast portion on this. But you can see just by looking at the middle column what she actually took in versus what she thought she took in. We can, we just leave things out. And so that's why it's important for us to track as we go and not wait and try to play catch up, because we'll inevitably leave something out and we'll think, oh, it's not that much. So how do we need to track our food? Well, there's lots of different ways that we can track our food. We need to start with what we're actually eating. So what I had this morning for my breakfast snack, well, I had an apple. So when did I have that apple? Well, I had it at 11 o'clock. And how much was that apple? It was one medium apple. And so then you would figure up, and depending on how you're using to track, and I'm going to show you some different examples here in a few moments. There are lots of different tools nowadays that you can use to track. Whether you want to write it on a piece of paper with a pen or pencil, that is just fine. If that's how it works for you, go for it. Whatever you know that you're going to follow through with is the method that you need to try to use. And if that's the simplest thing for you to do, then write it down. It's important that we measure our foods. And I know this right here probably gets a lot of people. And whether you're measuring what you're eating at the time or whether it's ingredients and recipes that you're making, that's how things can, if you don't measure, that's how you can quickly let things get out of hand. I know a lot of us women, myself included, I'm really bad about not measuring things, and I just, I eyeball it, but that's the way I learned to make something. Well, I'm not really able to calculate my correct caloric intake or the macronutrients in that recipe if I don't actually measure them. So I would just be guesstimating on the calories or the carb content or the fat content or sugar, any of those things. So it's important that we do measure things appropriately. Food labels, those are things that can really throw some people off. Is anybody kind of thrown off by reading food labels or kind of intimidated looking at them in the grocery store? I know I have been before, and I still am. I'll just say I still am. There's so much information that's kind of just thrown on here. But this kind of gives us a little bit of a breakdown of how you can read the food label and get the information that you need off of it. And so you'll see up at the top, it says to start here. So an important thing to know is what's your serving size on a product. So whatever food this is, it's telling us that a serving size is 1 cup. and that's where the measuring comes in. So if you want to accurately track, like we looked at on the previous page, you can get you a measuring cup and take you out 1 cup of this product. And that 1 cup, and in this product, you only have 2 servings. So you could take half of it, and that would be your 1 cup. But that 1 cup, or that 1 serving, is 250 calories. And people that have not looked at food labels in the past, they look a lot of times, myself included, before I ever learned how to read a food label, I thought 250 calories was what was in the whole can of whatever I purchased here, but that's not. It's 250 calories per serving, so which is going to be 1 cup. So that's where you get your calories. So if you ate the whole 2 cups, this whole container, then that's actually 500 calories you've taken in, not 250. So be sure you look at your serving size and how many servings are in each container of whatever you purchase. And then you can also see your calories from fat. So if I ate this whole thing, I would have gotten 220 calories just from fat. And then you go on down and you see all of your nutrients down below in this section here. You can see your percentages of daily value of your fat, your saturated fat, your trans fat, your cholesterol, sodium. That's a big thing you want to look at on processed and canned foods, because sodium's a natural preservative, so it's in almost everything. And it might not even taste like it's salty, so you can't go off of the taste. So if you're watching your salt as well, maybe you've got some issues with your blood pressure and you're trying to get those down, sodium can really be a hindrance to you managing and controlling your blood pressure. So it's super important to look at those sodium numbers as well. Potassium, so you can see all of these things. So this tells you this one, in 1 serving of this product, you have gotten 18% of your daily value of total fat already. So these are good things to review. And then you can also see your vitamins down here. You get vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. But these are important things to know. And so learning to read a food label can really, really be helpful to you. Whether you follow it strictly or not, eating the recommended serving size, even if you don't eat the recommended serving size or you eat more, then you're able to at least calculate what you have eaten while you're tracking your food and know where you're at. Say this was a can of SpaghettiOs and I ate that can of SpaghettiOs. I might have eaten it all, and I might have not should have, but I did. So I need to know that I've already eaten 500 calories for my day. So that's why it's important to read those food labels and to track. So as I said, there are lots of different things that you can use to track your food intake, to track your calories, to track not just your calories, but your actual macronutrients as well. And so these are just some of the ones, and I actually put the links to all of these, the website links to all of these in the chat box earlier, and so you can copy those and go and look at them. Most all of them have a free version that you don't have to pay for. So if you look here at the Calorie King, Burger King, you can get a grilled chicken sandwich, medium fries, and diet soda for 983 calories. That's a lot. When some of us might only be trying to get a 1,200 or 1,300 calories in a day. And you might think, oh, well, it's just a grilled chicken sandwich and the diet soda is not that bad, except for your sodium intake. It's probably going to have a good bit. And then fries, but it really goes a lot further than what you think. And so this is a website that I have learned to use. I've got a cookbook that I have that has some vegan and vegetarian recipes in it that I really like, that I eat from time to time. But it doesn't have the breakdown of the calories nor the macronutrients. And just because it's vegan or vegetarian doesn't mean that it's not um, high in fat or high in sugar. A lot of those things are breads and sweets, and it can have a lot of things in it that's not necessarily good for you. So I Googled and I found this recipe analyzer. And again, this is in the website. So for those of us, or in the chat box, so for those of us that like to make homemade recipes, we've got Grandma's recipe, and we really want to have some of that, whether it's basic granola or whether it's Grandma's chicken and dressing, but we want to be mindful about how much we're eating of it. And we know Grandma's chicken and dressing probably doesn't have all the breakdown on it, but you can go to this website and type in your ingredients as you see them right up here, and it will give you all of that information. And so I found this really handy. So if it's something that you're throwing together, maybe you've got a lot of things in your pantry and your refrigerator that you're just gonna throw some things together and eat what you have, then you can figure your calories and still be able to track. Has anybody ever used anything like this before? Or does anybody use any other type of app?
To use MyFitnessPal a lot. I have used something like this before that gives you the breakdown of things, and it's kind of cool, especially whenever you don't know what you're actually taking in.
Yes, it's very cool because like you said, you can actually see how many, whether it's fat content you're looking at or whether it's the vitamins and nutrients and fiber you're looking at. You'd be really surprised at all of the information you can get just from simple things. Lose It is another app, and I use this one. And most all of these, like I said, have free versions. I like it. I can input my food. I can scan a barcode on something I've eaten, and it'll log it right in for me. And so that's very helpful. And I think you can do that on your MyFitnessPal as well. And here's a picture of the MyFitnessPal. And a lot of these are very customizable, that you can change and add the things that you're wanting to look for. You can buy paid versions, that will give you more information. Some will give you recipes and things like that. So now that we know the importance of why we track our food, why we need to measure and keep up with things, and then we know some of the different applications, or even just good old handy paper and pen, writing it down. Now that we know how we can do that, we need to make an action plan. So very important for us to make an action plan so we can keep ourselves accountable, just like with tracking. We're talking about tracking to keep up. Making the action plan just keeps us accountable. So this is what I'm going to work toward for the next week. We want to work on setting a goal between now and the next session. This goal should be to help us lower our risk of diabetes. We want to write 3 actions down that we'll take to reach that goal, and then check off each action as you complete it. And you really do feel a sense of accomplishment when you meet those. And maybe that goal is going to be just that I'm going to start tracking my food this week, or I'm just going to at least download the app I think I want to use this week to start tracking my food. So you're going to write down what I'm going to do, where I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it, and how long I'm going to do it for, and what challenges I might think I might face. Because let's be real, we always face challenges. And that's why it's so hard for us to keep up permanent changes, because we face challenges. But if we don't make a plan, that's when we will fail to succeed most times. And then look for ways that we can cope any challenges that we encounter.